Hello and welcome back to Fantasy Turf War, the show where 64 teams go head-to-head to see who's the ultimate champion. I am, of course, your Commissioner Cory on this a beautiful Sunday night, and we have not one but two drafts to go through tonight. So lots to cover, lots to get to. I'm not going to take up too much time because the draft is about to start itself. And the clock watch to make sure. And yep, there we go. So the clock just started, so we're going to let these guys go through so we have something to talk about for a little bit. There it goes. And, all right, so the draft has started, so we'll cover that in just a second. But before we do, wanted to give everyone just a brief overview of what we're about to watch. So Fantasy Turf War is a 64-team head-to-head league, 4 divisions of 16. Each division has its own set of player data, so essentially you're going to have 4 sets of players in the league, so 4 Patrick Mahomes throughout. The way it is being broken down is each division drafts separately, so we had Division 1 draft last week, and tonight we have Division 4 up first, and we have Division... hang on one second, sorry, got stuff going on there. All right, and Division 4 is up first, and then Division 2 will be after this one later tonight. So immediately after this stream, a new one's going to start. Just gives me a chance to take a break. So we've gone over what that is. Let me check my show notes here. Draft rules are pretty simple. So it's 16 teams, 17 rounds, and then it's serpentine or snake draft. So number 1 draft pick is going to go first on the first round, but last on the second round. And so it reverses order going backwards, and then it just keeps snaking through like the old game. Kids, go look that one up. All right, so a couple things to go over here. We had the draft order was determined for Division 4 via baseball, which is a bit odd. But what we did is we said we randomized teams that were playing last Thursday and Friday in the MLB, both Thursday and Friday, so we verified schedules, and said, okay, whoever scores the most combined runs both days, that would determine your draft order. And then the tiebreaker was total hits, and we didn't have to go any farther than that. So looking at what we have here, the total number of runs, the highest was 13. The lowest was 3, and that is the Rockies and the Guardians. And that's a typo. The Guardians didn't have 81 hits. They had 18 hits. That's a typo on my part. But yeah, so Christina Gomez over at Strange Paradigms, she has the first pick overall. She is not in attendance tonight. She has to work, so I will be drafting on her behalf. I'm not playing in the league, so I can be a non-biased person drafting through there. And yeah, so kind of give you an overview. Here's our draft order. Christina Gomez is going first. The Fantasy Couriers are going second. Zachary Fisher is third. Becky Menken is fourth. Jeffrey Demers fifth. Matthew Ane sixth. Julius Adams, Matthew Metzbauer, Rachel Douglas, Cardiacs, Casey Garcia, Benjamin Fisher, Chad Atkins, Renee Neal, Jesse Grun, and Ryan Carr. All right, so that's our draft order. So I will pop this back over, and we will start watching the screen here. And at this point, I will open up the chat lines to any of the teams who... Whoop, no one wants to see that. I will open up this chat lines to anyone who wants to chime in on the conversation. And we will get that going. Switch that over. There we go. Put my face where the chat is so that they can talk amongst themselves. Go back there. There we go. So we can see the first round is already underway. So Christian McCaffrey, kind of a no-brainer, went 1 of 1. Like I said, in the draft, in the prep episodes, you can't really ignore that opportunity. CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill went off the board immediately afterwards, which is a little surprising, but not too bad. We saw with last week's draft, the receivers started to come off pretty early as well. And so for the people who are watching at home, the people in the division or in the league, I just put the link to join us on the league chat. And for the people at home, we will open that up a little bit later. All right. So right now, Julius Adams over at Excitement is on the clock. We should have had a timer rule set in place, 30 seconds. Why is that not working? All right, not sure why that didn't go through. So that should be fixed now. Let's go back in. Nope, it is not. Okay, so I will be manually clock watching. So we told teams in advance, there's 16 teams, 17 rounds. So to keep this from being less than 3 hours, which it needs to be, we would that first. All right, so we would deliberately keep it down to about 30 seconds. And so Julius Adams, if you are on, I'll give you a couple extra seconds here, but then you're going to auto draft. Yeah, it looks like that clock is not fixed. All right, we're auto drafting. Next. All right, let me pull up a little bit of a calculator here, or a timer, so I can save some sanity on this time. Ah, there we go. Fixed. All right, so draft timer is back in, so that was able to work. So I'm not sure what happened there, but 30 seconds, so keep it. Yeah, thanks for the feedback, guys. I appreciate it. And remember, the draft chat is open, or the stream chat is open. I put the eCam link in the league chat if you want to join in. We had like 6 people hopping in with us. Wow, that saves a big headache. So, fortunately, unfortunately, we set a draft timer just because, again, there's 200 and something picks that we have to go through, and we have to keep it under 3 hours because otherwise Division 2 is going to get impeded. Let's actually switch that camera so you're not staring at my ugly mug and you get the good camera. That down. Get rid of that guy. All right, so we have more running backs, more receivers going off the board, which is anticipated. Timer should be 30 seconds. Hang on. All right, I'm going to stop the draft for a second. Let me reset this clock. That's not fair to you guys. Did anybody get screwed on that where I need to go take care of something? All right, that's close enough. I think we're good there. 45 seconds. Okay, that's probably the best of both worlds. If anybody got screwed on that, I need to know so I can make a change if I need to. But it doesn't look like anyone did. Pacheco. Pukunakua. Right, I'm going to email out while we're going through this. I know we got a little bit of dead air there, but I'm trying to get some people on. So thanks for bearing with me here. Nothing like multi-factor authentication on every single step you take. All right, Saquon Barkley, all right. All right, so we got a couple of other league updates while we're watching the draft progress here. So we've got the turn. Team 18 is going to make the turnaround, and we're going to start heading back to team number 1, or Christina Gomez's team. So we've had a few teams that have dropped in the last 24 hours. So we've effectively replaced 3 out of the 4 that have dropped. It's understandable. We've had. We've been pushing this train since Super Bowl night of this past season, and so it's been quite a while. And some of the teams have been on and signed up for a good while, and there's not a lot to do in the off season, and so I think might have killed some of the motivation there. But I think things come up for people too. So we get it; it happens. Hopefully, they'll be able to join us next year, and we were able to replace them, so, it is what it is. No harm, no foul. At the end of the day, it's fantasy football on YouTube, right? All right, Gibbs Adams, that's a good combo there. So these guys, let me see actually. Probably looking at some of the running backs that are still on the board here. So there's still quite a bit. Keep this in live mode. Still quite a bit out there in talent-wise on the running back side. Receivers are starting to thin out a little bit, but nothing crazy. Of course, no one's touched any of the other positions yet, so we don't have to look at that. So something I do see... Oh, we got someone joining us. Who do we got here? Oh, hey, I know this guy. Hang on one second.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, it's going. Welcome to the stream.
Great to be here.
Let's see. So you are actually early. Your draft is not for another 3 hours.
That is true, but always interested to see how things are going at the other divisions. It looks like they're going pretty much chalk at this point, though.
Yeah, not a lot of craziness happening.
Anybody who watched Division 1 a while back, they had a run on quarterbacks during this round 2.
Yeah, I think within the second to third round, we lost a total of 4 quarterbacks at this point in this part of the draft.
4 in round 2. At the turn at the snake, you had 16 and 15 both go quarterbacks. They went Allen from Buffalo, and then they turned around and picked 15, and they went Hurts. And then shortly thereafter, middle of this round, they went to Lamar Jackson and Mahomes. So, but it looks like people are starting to stock up on key areas, running back, receiver.
Yeah, which is not, I wouldn't say predictable in a bad sense, but that's how you would kind of expect the teams to start stacking up at this point in the draft, because with the 16 team, you need depth, and it seems like that's what they're going for. I was going to bring up
quarterback, tight ends. It's going to happen soon.
Yeah, someone's going to pull the trigger eventually. One thing I saw that kind of jumped out is I'm going to say the name is B-Word in the Backfield, which is photographer Renee Neal. She has her first 2 picks are from the same team.
Okay, interesting. But if you look at best on the board,
true,
might not have had much of a choice when it came to running back at the turnstile.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Or maybe it was on purpose. Maybe not a bad draft strategy, perhaps. Take your lumps in 1 week, perhaps.
Yeah, that's definitely something to think about as your bye weeks, which I completely forgot until this point about our draft this morning. So that sucks. Whoops.
Oh, here we go.
All right, so there you go. So that is Team Ohana, the Lorcana professional TCG team. They went Josh Allen, which is what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 picks. 9 picks later than what happened on the first draft. So it is a little bit later, but might be a little early on my take on it. But you never know, because he's got to wait. Though. Yeah, he's got to wait a long time to go around.
Yeah, what's going to be there the next time? I mean, at some point in time, every owner is going to have to just determine exactly when is the time you pull the trigger on the quarterback, on the tight end. Yeah,
so decision-wise, he said Josh Allen was more important than just tossing out some names. So Derrick Henry, A-Chain, Rashad White, all the tight ends, Mike Evans, Malik Neighbors, which I could probably agree on the receiver side. There's, I'd probably look to more running backs, if not a tight end, just because of the point value for what's left.
Always a trade-off, though.
Yeah, always a trade-off. And now it'll be interesting to see, and I don't know how many of the people who are currently watching are drafting. Um, and we often talk about how someone making the decision usually triggers a run on specific positions, whether it be quarterback or defense. And we noted that on Division One, it didn't happen. And so it's kind of interesting to see it play out. Is someone else going to take the jump too, or is it kind of just a one-off? And for right now, it looks like it's a one-off. Again, not good or bad, just noting. And then
Interesting for sure. Mm-hmm.
he picked Josh Allen. He says he's an Eagles fan, so it hurt him not to take Hurts.
We have an interesting development. Pick 13
Okay.
in this round.
So first tight end off the board is Laporta.
Difficult to disagree if you think about it. Elite receiver, now elite tight end.
Okay. I don't know if I disagree. It'll be interesting to see what the Fantasy Couriers do with the turn, because they're going to get semi back-to-back picks. I'm drafting for Christina, so I know what I'm going with already. We'll see what they do here. Any guesses what I'm going to end up doing here?
Ooh. Would not surprise if it ended up being quarterback or tight end. But again, you've got the running back position already shored up. You have no receivers at this point. So at some point in time, you're going to have to go receiver. There you go. There you go. Not a bad deal there. Oh, pairing that up. You've got to love that. Now you've got elite across the first three picks. That's hard to disagree with.
Yeah, I'll take the pairing of Kelsey and Mahomes and taking the second quarterback off the board, knowing that I still have some work to do on the other positions, but I'll take the pairing knowing it's still there. It wouldn't be there by the time I got back around.
So interesting knowing the owner of the team who had the first draft last week. That was the exact strategy they were looking at, thinking, okay, we'll get Kelsey and Mahomes at round 2, round 3. And then, of course, it got lobotomized with all the quarterbacks going in round 2. And then it just made it difficult trying to pivot on that, from what I was told from the owner of Team 1 last week.
Jeffrey Demers, welcome to the stream, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you? How's my mic?
Good. A little echoey, but not bad.
Did I lose you?
Oh, that's better.
Here you are. Much better. Much better.
All right.
Start to see some of these things filled in round 3 here. Looks like we've got depth on Fantasy Couriers. They went 2 receivers, now starting to pick up a running back to start filling in some of the depth there. And then the following pick,
there's a third quarterback
receiver, now filling in some depth at the running back spot, and now our third quarterback goes.
Okay, so it's on average it's still about the same. We got another one joining us here.
A little bit later in the run of quarterbacks, but not unanticipated. Again, it's always going to be a matter of when you start pulling the trigger on the non-running back, non-receiver positions. But looking solid so far across the board here. Okay. Oh, look at that pairing of receivers.
Oh shit! No, I didn't want that. God dang it.
So you picked up Ayuk, so you're downfield reapers. You're in the 5th spot. What were you trying to get?
Yep, I was trying to get DJ Moore.
All right, I can make that change.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but I was clicking on him, and I don't know if it was on my part joining up with the channel here, but.
All right, there you go.
Yeah,
all right, that's been
great. Thank you so much.
Yep, that's been changed only because the person after you didn't pick it and didn't seem to affect their decision. So
perfect. Thank you.
Tried not to do that too many times, but it makes sense because you were hopping on the stream.
Oh, yeah.
Julius, I see your.
You'll notice. Go ahead, Thor.
You there, Julius?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can't see you though.
My camera, my thing is messing. I don't know what's going on. Trying to fix it. I'm sorry.
Don't you love technology?
Hate it. No, I love it. Sorry. Fix this thing.
I would anticipate running back here in this pick.
Okay, so there goes Ayuk.
Okay, there's a strategy. 3 solid receivers to lead it off.
So Julius, that was you. Are you going with the no running back strategy there?
Yeah, I want to. You said that. I'm trying to
See a ceiling.
I want
Yeah, see the ceiling.
That's a good sign, and a part of a light. Ooh, we've had another person.
That's quick.
Just trying to fix this stuff up. Jesus.
Rachel.
I'm gonna let you get situated there.
As well as Cobra.
So
we've had 3 gun receiver sets.
Yep. So Jeffrey, with you riding the ship with DJ Moore and Robinson, Debo. So how do you think your draft's going so far?
Not too bad, really. Everybody does their research, and I look at pre-draft rankings as well as ADPs. So yeah. I had Bijan going at 5. I had Debo going 27. I had DJ going 34. So I think I'm right on pace there. And my first 3 picks, I knew that I was going to go 2 wide receivers and a running back. It just kind of depends on what was going to be played out. So I am feeling pretty good.
Okay. Yeah, it seems overall it's a good strategy. And, I wouldn't say anyone's made a definitive mistake or anything at this point. So it's all good there.
I like the thought process of you do all your planning, but then you really do have to react about what happens during the draft. And sometimes you just can't plan for it. But it looks like it's held form for you at least.
Yeah, it's interesting. I run a keeper league with 12 people, and we had our draft yesterday, and it took about 3 hours or 4 hours, and that was interesting to see how quick. Some people went off the board, and it's like, wait a minute, I didn't have that person until, number 50, and you're picking him, around 30. So,
yeah, I think
you can definitely change up your game a little bit.
Yeah, so in the Division 1 draft, Neighbors went off the board in the 2nd round. He went in late 3rd round this time, so that's a little more, I would say, appropriate, for his ADP, just to kind of line up with that. So Tony Richardson's off. Kittle came off. So we're 4 tight ends down, 4 quarterbacks down. So we're about on par with Division 1 quarterback wise. They were by the end of the 3rd, 4 quarterbacks had come off the board, and I'm pretty sure it's the same 4. Richardson and Jackson were switched out, but
yeah.
So Jackson would still be out there actually.
He would be. I still can't get a read on the Houston receivers at this point in time. It's almost like too many mouths to feed.
Yeah, and I haven't gotten any good vibes out of preseason that's like definitive. The only thing that finally the Raiders picked a quarterback, so we've got that going for us.
Minshew, right?
Yeah, they went with the stash.
Yeah, I think the only team left, to my knowledge, that still needs to decide who the starting quarterback might be New England. I believe they're going to hold on to the decision until this evening. There's a game coming on tonight.
Okay.
If they end up going with Drake May, the rookie, that would make 4 starting rookies out of this quarterback class. That's quite a bit. So it'd be interesting to see just how they develop throughout the season.
Yeah. All right, there we go.
Back-to-back quarterbacks, and now we have the 5th tight end off the board.
Yep, and looks like people are making good use of the queue system. You can tell when that pick immediately goes. And yep. Julius, looks like you're set up, so I'll bring you back in here. There you go, Julius. You there?
Yep, I'm here. Oh, wait.
Cool. There we go. We got
you.
Me? Yep, all good.
Yep, sure can.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So Julius, you are Team Excitement. So your pick's coming up. So I'll kind of remain silent on that one until after your pick, but then we'll come to you for some feedback.
Okay.
But in the meantime, let's kind of fill it in with some of the background of what you guys are doing. So I'm going to use your first name, Cameron, Dad. You're drafting on the next draft tonight. So what are you guys doing with what are you doing for shelter dogs for veterans, and kind of what are you guys promoting as part of the league?
My role here is just volunteer for those guys. They're doing some great job taking care of service dogs for veterans. So great organization to be a part of. They just did not have the bandwidth to do this portion of the activities, and so I was happy to step in, knowing a couple specific cases to the immediate family where they've assisted, and it's been a great story.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And I saw that they did get that the new trainer to help out over there. So getting the bandwidth expanded, which is good news. And then Julius, I saw you make your pick. So you picked up Connor. So how do you think your draft's going so far?
Not too bad. I'm just, for some reason, my computer. That's why I'm on my phone. I don't use my computer, but I was having trouble, so that's why I came in on my thing. But I'm just having. I don't know why it's doing this. It's like I'm just having to. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure. I don't know why I'm having trouble. I just don't get it today. Like, no, I had this on.
Can I get Diggs, please? Sorry. I'm trying to get him again, but God dang it, why is it not working? Diggs.
I got you.
My thing was stuck on DJ Moore. I was trying to highlight him and it wouldn't go.
Hang on. Let's.
Diggs is gone.
Yeah, Diggs.
Oh, you know what? If Diggs was gone, I'll take
nothing.
McLaurin then. Don't worry about it. If Diggs was gone, I missed that pick.
Yes, Diggs went Team 18, end of the third round.
16. Yeah. Still, I'd say McLaurin's not a bad pickup at that spot. I'm hoping he's going to have another good year, but he's got a new quarterback to go with that offense, so it'll be interesting.
Oh, I'm on the clock. My bad.
No rush. You still got 30 seconds. We've seen quite a bit of the depth from both the receiver and the running back spots go. We see a lot of the elite quarterbacks and the top tier tight ends also gone at this point. Looks like a lot of teams just trying to start filling in for depth. Probably too early to start talking about defense, but we know what happened a week ago.
Never too early for a defense.
Or 2 or 3.
I'll pick up Montgomery. It's probably against my better judgment, being from Chicago, but I'll pick up Montgomery.
It's interesting, the disparaging rankings between Gibbs and Montgomery, though. Same team, and actually Montgomery is the starter, so
technically, yeah.
Interesting. Technically, yes. But, I think people look at them as being both 1A, 1B.
Yeah.
And virtually could be used interchangeably.
Yep. All right, so Ingram's off.
All right, now filling in for a tight end, Fancy Couriers. Now they've got 2 receivers, 2 running backs, and now filling in the tight end.
Yeah, it's a good balance.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to use the same word, balance. Mm-hmm.
So this is the legendary round 5. So I have to wonder if someone's going to shake things up or if they're going to keep it on ADP.
Okay, filling in. Looks like 3 solid receivers.
Pulling up the chat there. Jesse Grund, who is draft pick 15 overall, the Diamond Dogs. He is begging for a QB run.
Begging for a QB run.
Seriously, what is going on? Kelvin Ridley. I can't seem to select people. It's not highlighting my picks. God dang it.
I
Fail, not your pick. What is happening here? And I apologize, I'm not used to this system either, but
all right.
I
Hang on.
tried to get Kelvin Ridley there.
We'll stop.
I might need to refresh my
can't
screen
see.
or something.
Yeah, I don't see Ridley picked yet, so it's still got to be in there somewhere.
There he is.
It
All right.
says processing.
Corrected.
Unbelievable.
So I've noticed I have had to like double click on the name a couple good times.
So it's still
When
showing.
you're in the
Never
queue?
mind. Now I got
When
to
I-
get him out. I think my last problem was that the other guy was still in there. McLaurin was still in there saying not my pick. So I had to X him out so that I could move Kelvin Ridley in. So now my draft window is completely open. Apologize. Hopefully that won't happen again.
All good. Yeah, I mean that's why we're here, right? Because we're gonna, as long as we catch it when it happens, we can make the change.
I would have to say things are flowing a lot better this draft than they did for Division One. So I think the adjustments that were made were solid. I think having everybody here is helpful too. Minus one, of course, but you got that handled.
Yeah, she and I coordinated ahead of time. She knew basically all the days that were being proposed were just not going to work. And like I said, I'm not playing, so I have nothing to win or lose. So I just said, hey, I'll try and make the best decision I can for you.
There it goes.
But mileage may vary. And
We looked at the last eight, 9 picks. A lot more depth picks here. Now starting to run through the last of the solid tight ends. Maybe a couple sneakers out there for people. Oh, here we go.
oh, defense in the fifth.
Here we go.
Different defense. So Chet Atkins, the Crush Crew, pulling out a defense in at the end of the fifth there.
Division One, they pulled that out midway through the fifth round. So this is the latter portion. So interesting.
All right, give me 1 second. I'm trying to do some coordination work in the background. Talk amongst yourselves. Try the gray stuff. It's delicious.
That's right. Nice Disney reference there. I definitely looked at Hawkinson in some of the drafts that I was in, but the problem is that he's injured right now, and so you just don't know how soon he's going to be coming back. So it just shied me away from it because even from injuries, sometimes it takes a little bit longer to get back into football shape. But it looks like we've had over the last 6 picks 4 tight ends out of the group, so it looks like people are starting to panic. Perhaps grab them while you can mentality.
Yeah, they just kind of decided this is the time for it.
It was the time for it. Yeah.
Which makes sense, right? I mean, it's not too late, not too early, and this is kind of just the time it's going to fill in. What'll be interesting is the same thing with Josh Allen going in the second. Is if the first defense going off the board triggers a run. I don't know if it will.
You never know. I mean, every team's got that mentality of here's what I've drafted so far, and maybe they just felt they had enough of each of those that they could pull the trigger on shoring up missing pieces. For those that are heavily still entrenched in just running backs and receivers at this moment, I would anticipate they may start looking elsewhere shortly here too.
Uh-oh, got another one joining us here. And if
Yo.
it's Mr. Last Place himself, Matthew Ane, how you doing today?
You mean first
Mr.
place, but
Last
yeah,
Place.
doing good. How you doing?
I'm good. How's your draft going for you?
A lot better now that my wife got home.
I'm not commenting at all.
I had both kids, and she just got back from a bachelorette party.
Oh, all right. Well,
Yeah,
what's that?
she's having a good time. What happened with that Ridley situation? You paused the draft.
So I did pause the draft. Jeffrey Demers, he's in the middle video there, was trying to make a pick and was running out of time, so we had to stop the clock and make the pick for him.
I think just happened to pick the guy I was going to pick. Great.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Actually, I knew you were going to pick up Calvin Ridley, so I deliberately made decisions to. No, just kidding.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that wholeheartedly. Great.
Thanks.
Terrible human being.
Yeah, I've
So
heard
let's
that
talk
before.
about how you guys received the draft order. Let's talk a little bit about that for a second.
Yeah, so this was the league or the division that was supposed to be determined by water slide, and I ran out of bandwidth. So I said, how can I randomize this? There weren't any NASCAR races. I wasn't sure if it was appropriate to do like horse races and dog races. So I said, what else can I use? And so I said, oh, there's baseball games going on. So I said, all right, let's pair people to teams. Use the score of the 2 days of games and then put them together. And then tiebreaker was total hits, and then I forget what the other pieces of it were, but luckily it didn't have to go past hits. So
Yeah, thanks for giving me Toronto.
sorry,
I wanted a later pick.
I was hoping someone picked up the Cubs. I was going through the scores. They put up 10 runs one of the days.
Yeah.
All right,
they
Joe
did.
Burrow's off the board. That's a good spot for him. Yeah, so I forget who it was. They're like, not only do I have to root against my Yankees. So.
Where's my team?
For some reason, it's not allowing me to pick. I don't know what's going on. Like, I just can't get to the page. I've been having trouble with this. It's like, I don't know if it's stuck or.
So, you guys who have used the draft interface might be better equipped because I don't see what you guys see. For me, if I double click where it says on the clock or pick, I get this little pop up screen and then I can find the name. Is that similar for you guys?
No.
No, that's not how you guys select.
So there's this free agent side on the left hand side.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just select the player over there, and then it pops up in the middle, and then you have to hit select.
Oh, yeah, I don't have that.
Yeah, you're lucky.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, Kyler Murray. Oh, we got to draft again. What are they missing? Let's take a look at some depth. Oh, I'll take McConkey, no problem. Anybody cool that strikes? Okay. Nobody's really popping off. Okay, let's see if I can pull.
Let's see.
All right, why not?
Are you in this draft?
I'm drafting for Christina Gomez.
Oh, way to go, Christina.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I'm putting some thought into it, but not a whole heck of a lot of thought. I mean, so obviously 101 with Christian McCaffrey, you can't really not. And then I picked up the duo of Kelsey Mahomes, and then I was like, okay, I don't have a receiver yet. I probably need to pull some talent off the board, so I went receiver, and then I picked up a backup running back, and then needed more receivers, and I didn't see anything too crazy on the running back receiver side, so I said let's kind of shake things up a bit and took one of the better defenses, I think. So just trying to put some logic to it, but wasn't the fifth.
Got you.
Yeah, unless you're actually in the draft room itself, then you also can't really see what depth is still there. So it does make it interesting when you try to assess it outside looking in. It's like, well, gee, what was actually still on the board at the time the pick was made to say, well, gee, was that a good quality pick relative to everything else that was there? So a lot of second guessing typically takes place.
All right, Jeffrey Demir's up. So a couple of teams have gone 2 quarterbacks already. Probably just looking for depth or trying to settle for bye weeks.
Oh my God, why?
I don't know. I did do it. Don't blame me.
I mean, terrible picks though. This early. Well, I don't feel bad then. Even though I don't like it.
Oh, there we go. Finally, okay.
So curious, you picked up Metcalf, Matt. Do you think he's going to get a suspension out of the preseason stuff, or you think it's just kind of gone now?
I think it's gone. I don't think anything's going to come of it. Truthfully, we already would have gotten notification that it was going to happen pretty quickly. I think if anything, we probably would have saw it. Oh, okay, because it was within the NFL, like it was, within the team, right?
Yeah.
During that practice, so it already would have came down. I think they probably just said, screw it. Like,
what did we hear about Rice?
December.
So
it was a December case.
So they're gonna wait.
Really mean, yeah, the way NFL usually goes is they'll do the suspension after the fact. So if anything, now I think it'll be 2025 is when he'll get those probably like 2 games.
Okay.
Correct.
At least that's sorted out.
I mean, he has 2 things going against him. So for bad conduct, I think there was. I forget what the incident that we're all worried about. I think is it a DUI?
It was a car crash. I don't know if it's DUI related or not, but I do know it involved a car.
Okay, because it's between him and Jordan Addison that I can't keep up with. But essentially there's that, and then Jordan Addison got a DWI as well.
Yeah. Maybe the Rice incident was actually a fight.
I don't know. I'm gonna do a quick Google.
Yeah, because there was 2 things going on with him. One got kind of like, washed, and this one is the one that's kind of more legal proceedings. So yeah. I'm sure that might play into account. And that's why he might get 3 games, possibly 4. But that's next year. We don't have to worry about it.
All right. It seems like the pacing of this is much better than Division 1.
Yeah, I would say so.
I like the 45 seconds. I like 45. I thought 30 might have been a little too quick.
I think it was going.
Like the right pace.
Someone said it was going like 20-something seconds or 13 seconds. I forget what it was.
Well, I tried to look at it, and it looked like it almost kicked in at 26, but then it must have accounted for the keystrokes and whatever's. But 45, that change you made feels right.
Yeah, it seems quick enough. I mean, we're 46 minutes into the draft, and what round are we on? 8? Yeah, round 8, which is significantly farther than we were last draft.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I think we're about a half hour each round.
I think we're 6, maybe an hour into it.
I'm just hanging up on this one.
Okay.
Computer now.
Alrighty.
So,
No extra runs on defenses yet. Certainly no kickers yet either. Not much of a surprise there.
Hey, long time no talk.
okay, there we are. Finally. Okay. Now I feel better. Man, goodness. How you guys doing today?
So far, so good. Enjoying some drafts.
Okay. I got my drafting up now.
Trying to look at like the teams and how they're stacking up and see if there's anyone who's got like giant gaps or anything like that, and I don't really see any.
Okay.
A couple teams are still without a quarterback, but there are still some quality ones out there, enough to fill in.
Yeah, I mean, let's look.
I need-
So,
Well, now that I said that, looks like we could use 5
Yeah.
in this round alone.
yeah. So Kirk Cousin, Herbert, Stafford, Rodgers, Bo Nix. Those guys are still. Geno Smith is still out there. I don't know if they're what I would call elite tiers, but they're still, they're good talent. They're still out there. Bo Nix has actually looked pretty good on the preseason. I think. Hopefully, that's the right guy I was looking at.
Yeah, that's what they say. And he was what, 4th or 5th quarterback in the draft this year, or maybe 6th. I mean, they were pretty deep on drafting quarterbacks back this spring.
All right, well then I'm totally punting this position.
Punting? Oh, he's going kicker.
He's going to kick her. Special teams.
God dang it, you took my pick.
Nothing to make you feel more
You know-
confident
you know
than,
it's a
right?
good pick. Right. You know it's a good pick if somebody else is ticked off. You got it.
Yeah.
I heard a lot of.
Well,
this
I went to go
morning.
get a tight end, and then I realized
Right.
there was none left. So I'm like, all right, I will just stream this season. It's fine.
Yeah, stream until you find one that sticks, right?
Not even. At this point, you're gonna get a tight end that essentially is gonna put up the same number as 8 or 12, and I could find a better matchup each week
Oh my goodness.
and just play the matchup. Unless somehow there's a giant injury to like Andrews,
Yeah.
then Isaiah likely becomes a fun waiver wire pickup.
What's the thought process here? I think you're.
Oh, am I up?
in the,
Oh, no.
no, not quite yet.
I'm just looking to see what. Same thing as always. Like, what immediate gaps do I recognize? Is there any decent talent that I feel like should come off the board at this point?
It almost looks like the receiver could use some help there on her team.
Yeah, I think that's probably where her deficit is right now, and I've got some ideas. What scares me is that there's 3 Buffalo receivers on the list right now, and it's
I
like
was in elite. None of them got drafted. And it's like that. You've got an elite quarterback, but then nobody knows who they're going to throw to with much confidence.
all right. So I'm gonna take Dobbs. I'm glad. Fantasy Couriers took one of the Buffaloes, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. I do like Cooks. I do like Thielen. I hate the team that he plays with, but maybe they fix something throughout the year.
My feeling about Thielen is if you have no faith in the quarterback, Young, then you avoid the receivers like the plague.
Yeah, is that sad that being from Carolina, I don't want to pick? I'm gonna go Cooks. Give him some depth there. Sure.
That might be an interesting pick because I don't think even as of this moment, Lamb has actually signed his contract.
Yeah, it's one of those just in cases. I don't see a scenario where he doesn't, where like he holds out all the way to regular season. I mean, he could. I mean, Le'Veon Bell did it, right?
Right.
But all right, let's see. Let's swap someone in here. Actually, it's going to support the whole thing. Jesse, how's it going?
What's up, guys? How are you?
I'm good. Is that a hammock? Drafting in style.
I was thinking this is
This is
Batcave.
it technically is the Batcave. There is a sign in here that says Batcave, so
Nice.
it is the Batcave.
Nice.
You're 100% right.
Now, is this Val Kilmer's Batcave? Michael Keaton's Batcave? Like, where are we at there? Did we talk about this
We've
already?
had this conversation. We've had this conversation. None of the above. None of the above.
Ah, Val Kilmer. Got it.
Yeah, exactly. best Batman ever.
All right, so let's do some analysis. We got your team pulled up here. So you got Saquon Barkley. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Etienne Richardson. You picked up Rice off of Kansas City, Ferguson, and then you look like you went for some depth there. So how do you think your draft's going so far?
So the interesting thing about taking Anthony Richardson is I think he could definitely be QB1 by a landslide this year based on how he plays with our scoring settings. The problem is he also gets hurt. So that's why I ended up having to take a backup quarterback a little earlier than I wanted to by taking.
Hang on, I gotta go.
Only hamstring. That's the only hamstringing for me. Receiver's interesting. It's definitely, I think, talent at the receiver position, but I wouldn't necessarily say I love my receivers so far. But there's still some pretty decent names out there right now. So.
Yeah, and we were talking the whole suspension thing with Rice. Seems like it'll be a 2025 problem, so that's got to be reassuring.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to ask then. So you picked up Richardson. At this point on Division I's draft, Jackson was picked up in that kind of spot. So what was your thought process between those two, and like why'd you go with Richardson?
A couple reasons. One, I think Baltimore's defense is better, so I think there are going to be games where the Colts actually have to score as opposed to the Ravens they're going to be dominating. So Lamar's not going to have to do as much. And then in addition, the idea of Derrick Henry being added to that backfield, I think is going to take a lot of the rushing load away from Lamar Jackson. It's going to be the first time he's had a real bell cow running back in the backfield.
I am going to have to go.
So I think they're going to ask him to pass just a little bit more this year, which as a Ravens fan does not excite me because that's not really his game. So we'll see what happens. But I think Lamar is more likely to have like a QB6 or QB7 finish this year than a QB1 finish.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think you're more likely for Richardson to have a top 1, top 2 kind of year. Makes sense. And a lot of unknowns when it comes.
So what? This time it felt like Lamar Jackson had to put it on his own shoulders. Like you said, the running game is great, but he had a four-headed monster, and it's a matter of who stayed healthy. And he could run it himself, so he really didn't have to rely on the pass at all. And it was always a ditch off to Andrews.
It'll be interesting to see.
Like even with Lamar Jackson not having maybe a statistical season like he's had in the past, it might be a better team because of it, though, just because I feel they're better balanced.
Exactly. I think that's more likely to happen here is that he has a better statistical season, like you said, or not a better statistical season. That's good. All right. Boom.
I also thought it was interesting that two of the running backs from Baltimore both went out west with the same team.
Yeah.
Like, that's interesting. Edwards and Dobbins.
Their old offensive coordinator, that's why.
Yeah.
So 49ers defense came off the board. That's the third one, and that is round 9. So that's makes more sense. Yeah, it'll be interesting too because I think you'll get a pretty clear answer the first couple of weeks with Jackson and how Derrick Henry's going to shape into that. It's either they're going to keep it the same and Henry's going to get sidelined a little bit on points, or they're going to find somewhere in the middle, or we'll see.
I think we could,
every
like
NFL
you said, I
team's
think we
got to
could be
figure
a
it
better
out.
team. I think we could be a better team, but Lamar not need to do as much this year, which is probably what they want.
Hopefully it keeps him healthy, right?
Mm-hmm. I think it's just going to be a matchup nightmare for some of the teams playing against Baltimore to say, well, gee, now how do you defend them? Because Henry's versatile. He's even thrown a few touchdown passes.
As long as our defense plays defense. Yeah. I like how the app still has Jahan Dotson on the Commanders.
I think it still has Gronkowski in there as well. So, just in case
that was an interesting development with Dotson being such a high pick a couple of years back. I've heard that Washington just wanted to start getting rid of some of the old regime that was out there and some of the old draft picks, and Eagles did not waste time on it.
Bank error in the Eagles' favor. I got a first round draft pick and didn't have to spend a first rounder on him.
Yeah.
And if you rewind before even AJ Brown got to Philadelphia, they had problems with injuries. They had no depth. So first step was at least getting somebody who could stay healthy the whole season. They also drafted Devonta Smith around the same time frame, and health has not been a question on the Eagles since then. Dotson just adds to
Slim
that, I
re-
think.
If AJ Brown wasn't there, we'd be talking about Devonta Smith as a top 5 draft pick, in my opinion.
I would agree.
He's got all the talent. I'm not even an Eagles fan. I just know that he's that good a route runner. He's that good at separation.
I agree.
Starting to get thin out there. We're going to be taking some really interesting teams. Their players for us tonight.
Tight ends have thinned out quite a bit. I think Cory, you mentioned earlier. I think we're going to start seeing defenses and maybe a couple kickers start sprinkling in here in the next 2 or 3 rounds at most.
Yeah, so there's a couple different methodologies, right? With Division One, especially on the live stream, they were very adamant about the kicker will be the last pick they make if they make one. And some people do that, and I get why. Some people like to fill out their starters first, and then they go for depth. So this is that point where they're going to start to differ. Is where they're either going to go to try and round out the team, or they're going to just try and draft as much depth as they can and throw in a kicker and a defense at the back.
Mm-hmm.
Which it'll be interesting to see what people do, but I think you'll get one or the other. It's either you're going to get heavy on defenses, or people will just continue picking up the depth.
Yeah, and when it comes to the kicker, I think some people's mentality is if I don't get the top 3 kickers, I will punt. I will wait until the very end. If I don't get one of those top elite kickers that I know is going to be the gamer in week, out, I'd rather just stream it. So I know I see that all the time.
Yeah, and I have almost no loyalty when it comes to kickers throughout the season. For me, it's strictly by the numbers. If they have more points per game on average, I'm more likely to pick them up. And if that means I'm going to toss out whoever it was I drafted, I'm doing it because, it's all about points. So if they're statistically, if they're putting up more numbers, they're going to get the ball. And that's actually usually what I pay attention to on bye weeks. Coming off bye weeks, I'll try and pick up. People usually dump kickers or their extra kicker or something like that, and I'll pick them up based on how many points they've scored relative to my team, just because if they're putting up points, they're going to keep doing it all year. Or they're more likely to do it.
And a lot of people don't pick up a backup for a kicker.
Right,
They
yeah.
don't want to do it. I'll stream it if I have to, but then you'll see them dumping like a really solid kicker because they've got nobody else to dump, and it's like you said, pick them up on the bye weeks because they had to drop them because of depth. Looks like we're starting to get threadbare on the tight ends, though. I actually do like Conklin, the last tight end that was picked up towards the end of this current round. He's on the Jets. And we know when Rodgers was in his prime with Green Bay, he liked to use tight end quite a bit, even 2 tight end sets. I'm wondering if he's going to be benefiting a lot more than the ADP is giving him credit for here.
Yeah, it could happen. Little hesitant on the Jets, but I mean, if you were all in on the Jets last year, you're not this year.
Well, I definitely thought that they were definitely a deep playoff run team last year before Rodgers got hurt. They had built that team around the defense initially, and then when they added in all the offensive pieces to it, it's like, yeah, they're definitely a contender. And then, of course, as you know, Rodgers got hurt, and so the crap tailspin the offense.
Oh, well. That was my bad. Well, she got some extra receivers.
She needed them, though, I think.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
And hopefully the matchups and the bye weeks and things like that, then she'll have a better pick.
So no tight end averaged more than 39 yards a game with Aaron Rodgers.
Wow.
Really? Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
He threw to his slot and his Y, or excuse me, his X receiver more than he threw to his tight ends by far.
Back in Green Bay, they also had a lot of 3 receiver sets, and I don't know that they've got 3 deep on the receiver core at the Jets this year. Everybody talks about Wilson. Everybody knows about him. Mike Williams came over from the Chargers, so I think he's going to be a serviceable wide receiver too. But beyond that, I don't know if anybody could actually name another receivers on that team.
They drafted a guy. I forgot. They drafted a guy who was going to be the wide receiver 3 for the Jets.
And there you go. They drafted a guy, so it's like a name you can actually
Malachi
associate.
Corley.
Say, oh, it could be that guy.
Corley. Alan Lazard's still there. They've got
Right.
some other people there as well. But yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Taysom Hill. There we go.
Eating up my queue right now.
And the man, the myth, the legend we were just talking about, Rodgers.
I think he has something to prove. I took him.
Prove like what? A second set of downs?
Yeah, right.
Aaron Rodgers, I think he
Well, I
gets,
mean-
I want to ride out. I feel like something left in the tank. I want to ride out a little bit.
Almost Favre-esque, if you think about it.
As long no one gets paid to take him out.
They don't play New Orleans, do they?
Yeah, right.
Ouch. Justin Herbert. Boy, it'd be nice if they supported him better with receivers. He is such a talented quarterback, and for him to have very little to work with, it feels like a travesty.
Yeah, he gave Keenan Allen his best year last year.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be an interesting year under Harbaugh, though.
Oh, they'll run the ball 60 times a game between J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards.
Yeah, if they stay healthy. I mean, that's been the knock on both of those guys, staying healthy. And the one person that they should have kept was Eckler.
Eckler looked really bad last year. Like, he looked like he had completely lost his ability to hit a hole at hard.
Sorry, I'm putting in the draft order for the Division 2 real quick so that they're locked and loaded.
We're zipping through this draft, though, I'd have to say. We're about 2 hours away from the next draft, and looking pretty strong at this point in time.
Yeah, it's been pretty good.
This is the point in the draft where I think people who've done their homework and people who know what the depth charts are will start finding the diamonds in the rough, in a sense. They're going to be able to pull out people that they think might be able to contribute this year as opposed to who's next on the ADP.
Yep.
I do like that Pearsall pick in the prior round. I think if anything happens with Ayuk, he's the next person who steps up. He could get a lot of targets this year if Ayuk does not stay a 49er.
That's in.
And there's Elijah Mitchell. He picked up right afterwards. 2 San Francisco players. And of course, that would have been the handcuff probably that Christina should have picked up, perhaps, for McCaffrey.
Probably. That's where my head was at, and just didn't.
And that was the same mistake
that.
that Rich made in the Division 1 when he drafted as well. Probably should have picked up the handcuff.
Okay, so good there. Okay, cool. Division 2 is ready to go.
And of course, we'll do a full analysis after this to see where we think the strengths and the weaknesses are of each of the teams. But right now, I mean, just nothing stands out of one way or the other at this moment, which is a good thing to say, I think, Cory, right?
Yeah, I think as long as I mean, there's one obvious decision that I think is similar to one that was made in Division 1, and that there was a defense picked up in the 5th round. I mean, given it was the end of the 5th round, maybe they were anticipating a run, something like that. But I do think that's probably too early. I think I picked the Cowboys too early at the beginning of the 7th, and I only did it because I was not using a normal draft strategy. I was using fill the gap because it's just trying to make a quick decision kind of thing. So if I had done it, under like a normal thing, I probably would have held out to about the 9th. Because
the interesting topic about the defense is that none of those individual picks that have been made thus far triggered a run. They were just standalone defense picks. And sometimes you'll see where a certain pick will start triggering others, and you'll see a grouping of that same position go. That did not happen with the defense. There's 3 separate isolated picks scattered. None of them triggered a run.
Yeah, because I mean, looking at the board, I picked up Cowboys in the first pick of the 7th, and the next defense didn't go to the 14th pick of the 9th, and so I had plenty of time and opportunity there to make that decision later. And there's 32 people that I could have put in between those spots. So, overall, that was probably a mistake on my part for that team. But I wasn't approaching it with like a normal draft strategy. I was just filling gaps.
Well, a lot of times when it comes to those extra picks, whether it be a kicker or defense, a lot of times what I look at is what's still out there and what's that trade-off. I mean, if I still get the top 3 kicker, top 3 defense, is it making that much of a difference when I look at the depth charts of the running backs and receivers? Say what's still out there, and can I still get somebody just like that the very next pick anyway? So, For me, it's like sometimes you kind of have to look at the depth charts and what's still out there and say, is it affordable now?
Yeah, and I think picking up the Niners in the 9th round, 14th pick of the 9th round, that's a good spot for that. It fits. I don't see, other than that, you're right. Like, I don't see anything that's really sticking out other than Crush Crew picked up 2 quarterbacks before he picked up 2 running backs or 2 receivers or anything like that. So that's a little...
Yeah. Matt was going down that way as well. I think the 3rd team on the board picked up double quarterbacks as well.
The Deadites.
There you go. Smith and Mayfield. Again, yes, you can shore up that spot and say, okay, I don't have to worry about that the rest of the draft, but, could you have picked up Baker a couple picks later, probably in the same spot? If not, is there that much difference between Baker, Rodgers, Herbert, Watson, Stafford? Probably not, but again, without being in that person's shoes in that moment, only they would probably know exactly what their thought process was right there.
Let's take a chance on that.
Bo Nix. Hope he has a good season. I know Denver's due for having a good quarterback for a change. They've had some bad luck, no pun intended, before Wilson got there.
Where is
Wilson,
the timer?
that project was just a failure.
Oh, not this
He
again.
is in a hammock. That's awesome.
So the draft timer has reset itself.
Draft.
Uh-oh.
Thanks for bringing that up, Fantasy Couriers. But yes, it had reset itself.
That's weird.
It's very weird.
This commercial has been brought to you by...
There we go. It's fixed again.
It's a feature, guys. It's a feature. It was on purpose.
Look, it worked pretty good up until this point, so take it, I guess.
Yeah.
But not sure what happened there. Oh, kicker off the board.
Oh, there we go. Kicker. What round are we in now?
Becky Mankin picking a kicker off in the 13.
Well, again, like we talked about, trade-offs. If you feel
I mean,
there's not much left out
it is
there,
the greatest kicker to ever live.
I'm sensing some bias here.
I would kind of...
Not from her. She's a Seahawks fan, but
Kevin Butler myself. I'm kidding. I know somebody who actually drafted Kevin Butler in the very first round. Yes, that was a long time ago.
yeah.
And their team tanked. But Lauren, one of the co-hosts of the show, actually drafted a kicker in the first round and won.
And won. Yep. So she is the exception.
Yeah, did she get like Kyron Williams and Puka Nakua in like the 16th and 18th round? Is that why she won?
Yeah, I don't know. I never saw like the lineup, but yeah, I'm curious. Like, what else did you have on that team, and what happened to every other team? Like, what was their circumstances? Like, so I always joke, right? It's like it's as much of a thing about like I would say a mistake on her part draft wise, but it's also a mistake on all the other teams for not like burying her in the draft for it.
That is a huge indictment of the rest of the league. Nobody who drafts a kicker should ever make the playoffs, let alone win it all. But hey, you never.
Well, I mean, you're saying drafts a kicker in the first, or drafts a kicker at all?
Well, getting a kicker in the first, like she did that year. Yeah.
See, there's definitely a reason to pick a kicker at some point in the draft.
I think Division One. I think we had a team that did not draft a kicker. Is that true?
They did, yeah. And their strategy was, I'm going to pick up as much bandwidth and talent as I can, and then I'll stream a kicker later. Let's see how the rest of the preseason shakes out.
Yeah, and then have to hope that not everybody drafts two kickers either, because we figured just by the math, that does not leave very many options to stream for some of those positions.
Becky Mankin is hopping in here and saying, because I'm questioning her kicker picks.
They were just commenting that it was the best kicker in the league.
No, I think he said of all time.
By some people's
time,
standards. All time, yeah.
All time.
Hard to argue against it, but I do like Aubrey and what he's done the last couple of years for Dallas.
Let's see, who do we got joining us? Hey, Zachary Fisher, how you doing?
Number 6.
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. How's your draft going for you?
I'm surprised you guys aren't talking about how I have clearly the most dominant team available right now.
Wait, which team is it? We'll start talking about it.
Are
Then.
you the Deadites or is that your brother?
I'm the Deadites.
There you go. So, third pick overall.
Yep.
Hell, who's that?
Yeah.
And then Chani? Is that what his name is? No. It's
Wait and
looks
see.
like
My
it's been a
Dolphins are
pretty
going to
solid
rock
draft
it up
for
this
you.
year. If Tua had been available, I'd picked him up too, and then I'd have just been. In fact, I think my first 5 players all play in Florida. I think it's just Buccaneers
Miami,
and Dolphins to start with.
Tampa, Jacksonville. You're right. So if there's a hurricane early season,
Not good. Hey, don't say that. I live here.
yeah, right. Okay, so your quarterback is Geno Smith, which is the trade-off because you picked up all the bandwidth on the other positions, and then
Yeah,
you let
that has been my strategy in the past. It has sometimes worked for me. Is just ignore the quarterback position until it's almost too late to keep ignoring it.
yeah, which Geno Smith
And I
is
was
still
actually
solid
gonna get-
quarterback.
To do that.
I was going to get the rookie for the Bears, and I missed him by just a couple picks. So I picked him right before I was getting ready to pick him up. I was actually holding out for him.
Oh,
I'm
Williams,
totally blank now. Yeah, Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams.
he looked okay in preseason.
Yeah,
I was
he
who's
picked
the
up right before I wanted to get him.
Who's the Detroit quarterback that was playing and just kind of went off the rails? He was a backup.
Me Goff?
No, it's just like this. I think it's a second string quarterback, but kind of went off in one of the preseason games. Looked good.
Oh, the preseason game. Booker. No, he's Detroit.
I'll have to take a look.
I don't know.
Yeah, the kickers are starting to come off now.
There you go. This is a bona fide run. Again, many people think if you're not getting one of the guys that are on the board here, you're just waiting for a few rounds, perhaps. But everybody's got to decide for themselves what they'd like to do. And there you go, 2 more back to back. So this is the round everybody decided to move on it. Round 14.
Yeah, there they go. There's that run.
This is a run.
But you really don't know because kicker's one of those things where it's. I mean, yes, it is about talent, right? Because they have to be able to kick the damn thing. But a lot of it's just down to opportunity. And so these guys are all great, but if you're kicking extra points, then your talent's kind of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But if your team can't score for shit, and you're having to, kick it from the 57 the guy kicked it from yesterday, and that's where your points are.
You hit it right on the head. It's ability where ability and opportunity meet.
Yeah,
and
definition of success.
The common theme between the kickers who have gone to this point, high scoring teams. Teams that you're expecting a lot of firepower out of. Well, minus Dallas, of course, because I don't know who they're going to throw to this year. But Aubrey's, he can kick from 60 yards out and not think twice. So again, this is the interesting run across the board here.
Yeah, and we're moving pretty quick, right? We're an hour 20 in, and we're almost done. So we almost cut the time in half.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Not going to be a kicker for me this round. I got to represent.
Kickers are important, though. You need them because the way the defense are blitzing.
Starting to see a lot more defensive teams being pulled up.
Yeah, I think more defense this year. Some games are just won on the kick. So I know New England. When we were involved, it was like days winning off the kicker. You just have to. I think it's important, high level, especially with they're too aggressive. So your team might get hurt. You might not have the offensive threats that you used to have. I think early DC it's gonna be a big bang. I don't think it'll be a lot of high scoring. I mean, these guys are coming up with so many schemes that how to throw their defense. It's gonna be tough, especially in the AFC.
More young quarterbacks coming off the board now.
Oh, not bad.
You never know when an injury is going to have them playing more time than they might otherwise.
Yeah.
And having a roster size like this, you can at least afford to pick up a backup or that player's handcuff. Wouldn't probably go too crazy with it necessarily, but that key skill position might warrant picking up handcuff if it's possible. All right, so Donta Foreman, huh?
Yeah, I'm just going for depth here. So I just picked up more running backs, knowing that some of these guys might never see time, but better to have them and not need them.
And Clyde Edwards-Helaire, again, that's that handcuff that we were just talking about. If something happens with Pacheco, CEH is more than able to handle the load. Not quite sure he got a fair shake in the last couple of years necessarily, but I think there are a lot of factors probably contributed to that. But I think he's definitely a capable running back.
Yeah, I think one of the factors is he's terrible. That's why a seventh round rookie took his job. Like they've got Deneric Pierce and Carson Steele will play more than Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I mean, I think they'll carry 4 running backs, maybe 5, based on the way Pacheco runs. I saw a meme one time that says Pacheco runs like he's wearing jeans, which I love that. It's hilarious when you think about the way he runs, how fast his legs move. But, yeah. Clyde
I think
Edwards-Helaire,
Pacheco's just one wicket hit
if
away
he
from
gets
taking
cut,
a quick exit.
yeah. Yeah, but I wouldn't even be surprised. If it came out tomorrow that Clyde Edwards-Helaire was cut by the Chiefs, I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever. He's terrible.
I think somebody would
He's
pick
had
him up if he were, though.
multiple chances.
He's got some miles left.
He'd have multiple chances. I don't know. The running back position is such a crapshoot in the NFL. It's just such a crapshoot.
Yep. And the Bears.
We actually had
The
somebody
Bears.
from the Giants get drafted, huh?
Darius Slayton.
Yeah. They paid Danny Dimes a pretty hefty contract last time around, too. They can't either keep people healthy or draft or get people in free agency. They just have a big problem in New York. Zach Ertz. I didn't realize he was still playing.
Starting tight end until Ben Sinnott gets.
Oh, Washington?
Starts to understand the game.
Yeah. Yeah, so that looks like he could have some promise in this league.
All right. So I think we're getting to the point in the draft where, that not so much of a game changer that you can tell right now, right? This is the part where this could pay off at the end of the league or end of the season. You just don't really know. Yeah, it's interesting to see, and I don't know if really anybody can make mistakes necessarily at this point, just because you're filling in your backfill there.
Yeah, I think everybody's just taking a look to see what am I missing. Am I missing a kicker? Am I missing a defense? Could I shore up a couple other spots that I don't feel as comfortable around? I think this late in the game, for any of the skill positions, you're probably just throwing a dart against the wall at this point.
5, 6, 7 teams still don't have a kicker.
Wow.
I'm one of them.
How many rounds we got?
There are 2 full rounds left. Not to put pressure on people to kick one. I'm just observing. Again, because it is a strategy to just not pick one up yet. So
while we've got a moment here, talk a little bit about waiver wire.
So waiver wire. Yeah. So the league is set up so that it's in a draft mode or a season mode, and so once the last draft is done, which will be Thursday night, I'll switch it over into season mode, and then at that point the waiver wire opens up. People can start making their normal moves, drops, adds, that kind of thing. And I believe that's the same for the trading block.
And the order for pickups, is that inverted?
It is, it's reverse draft order, and then it's persistent, so it doesn't reset every week. So if you have the number 1 waiver wire, it is yours until you use it. Some leagues it resets every week depending on how you finished that week. So, but not this way.
I've been a part of a league like that, and that was not cool because the person potentially lost the first 5 weeks.
Yeah, and there's no redemption arc for the people that were holding on. They can't get a good pick now either, so it's kind of a lose-lose. But I try and keep it fair and balanced for everything.
I don't have a kicker or a defense.
Nor do I. But we'll remedy that soon.
I don't even have a single quarterback
I might
yet,
not.
or a receiver, or running back.
That's because your draft
But
is
that's
in
because
2 hours.
my draft's coming up, but I appreciate being here with you guys and sharing the moment, and wish you guys all the best of luck.
I mean, not too much. You're going to see some of these guys in the playoffs, maybe.
Maybe. You never know. My job is I got to get to the playoffs first before I worry about who else made it.
Yep. So, Jeffrey, while we got some time here, you want to talk a little bit about downfield read and kind of what you guys are doing over there?
Well, I'm on the clock right now, so give me 1 minute.
Ooh, Kadarius Toney. I thought Cam Akers was going to make it back to me.
All right, I got a kicker now. My sleeper.
Yeah, but as far as downfield read, I guess we've kind of expanded a little bit. I shouldn't say we, I should say I. It's not like the royal we. But it was a lot of just blogging and posting and stuff like that for about the last, for the first year, I guess, up until about June. Now we're doing more videos, more live shows. I've actually gathered some folks from the site here after meeting them on downfield read, or on Fantasy Turf Wars.
Yeah.
And we're kind of collaborating and doing some joint stuff. It's fantasy football, it's normal football. I mean, it's just kind of everything. It's the news that's in there. And yeah, it's kind of where we're at. It's just kind of predictions and talking about stuff. So, just another talking head, but unlike other talking heads like, Colin Coward and Nick Wright and those guys who seem to have their favorites and they play to them on a regular basis, I try to keep it a little bit more, I'll say a little bit more real or realistic. It's a little bit more statistical, a little bit more analytical. Everybody, and I know this is going to probably 80% of the people listening are going to disagree with. Well, I'm on the clock again, so give me 1 second. Now that I haven't been paying attention.
Gronkowski. Go for Gronkowski. Heard he's great.
Right. I'll pick up a backup tight end. We'll see how he does. Oh well. But I guess what I was saying was, everybody just loves Patrick Mahomes and he's the best player ever and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and I get it. If you're going by rings, yep, he's got the most rings out of any quarterback within the last 5 years. I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback by any means, because he is very talented. He's very athletic. He can throw. He can run. He's got a very good offensive mind. He's got a very good tight end, very good head coach, all that kind of stuff. I just, look at it statistically. He didn't finish in the top 5 for any category last year: passing yards, passing touchdown, QBR, passer rating, anything like that, completion percentage. The only thing that he finished in the top 5 was for interceptions thrown, where he was tied for 4th. Does that make him a bad quarterback? No, of course not. But, when you look at it statistically like that, it's, it brings up an argument or a discussion anyway, as far as who is actually the best quarterback, who is actually the best player. So just stuff like that. We don't really go with the flow. It's, there's a lot of discussion in there.
Yeah, it looks like it's good stuff. All right, so we're wrapping up here. Does anybody have any hot takes on how they felt like they did? They're going to claim the championship now?
I think we did pretty decent.
I don't see how I could lose. I might go, what are there, 24 games in football? I'll go 24-0.
All right. Just saying, if it's not 24-0, we're, we'll put money on that.
Sure, 24-0. I'm going to score more goals than anybody.
saying it looks fairly balanced. Like I said, I don't think anyone's had a bad draft or anything that's unfixable kind of thing throughout the year, because you just never know how the season's going to shape out.
Does the software rank the teams based off of their current day one teams? Is there anything that kind of tells us who the
I don't think
theoretical favorite is based off drafts?
So I'll check with Matthew Brandon. He's on the next draft, but I don't know if it produces a grade report. I don't think it does, like Yahoo.
Right.
Yeah, we'll do some analysis on our end, but I don't think it actually kicks out like a report. Not that you can trust the Yahoo thing anyway.
Sure, right. It's all, yeah.
Very subjective.
It's all based on ADP and where you got them based on ADP. That's how
Right.
they grade it.
Right.
100%.
Right.
Like, what's the valuation? What did you take them based on ADP? And then, you know, if you have 10 wide receivers and only 3 running backs on your team, and all your running backs were below ADP, like the Yahoo ratings are, they're trash. For lack of a better term. They're trash. But I can tell you, I have the most iffy wide receiver group in the entire league, but I'm okay with that.
Are you on the clock?
Nah. Somebody took my. I already drafted my guy. I'm good.
So you get 2 picks
Done
off
on my
correct?
end.
Yeah, we're done.
All right, done on my end.
Oh, well, mine hasn't updated yet, so there's that.
Yeah, maybe
Somebody
we need to
took my
refresh.
defense. Timo Ohana.
That's Matthew Metzbauer.
My Bengals, man.
Ah, cool.
All right.
We are done. All right. Well, that's a good draft, and what was it, about an hour and a half ish? That's great timing.
Yeah.
That's really fast.
How drafts should be.
Yes, I agree.
Efficient. Very efficient.
So let me turn this timer off. The Division 1's probably super irritated that it took 3.5 hours, but that's why I think they're going to go with guinea pigs as their division name. But looks good. I think everyone had a pretty good draft. Like I said, I think there's some mistakes, but I don't think anyone's like flat out won or lost. So all good. All right, gentlemen. I will see you guys later. Is anybody coming back for the 9 o'clock?
Yeah, I'll be back at
I
9.
will.
All right. I will see you
Yeah,
guys
enjoy it.
a little bit. Best of luck to you all.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Alrighty.
Thank
Bye.
you.